Oh my God. I was just doing this whole video and I thought it was recording. It wasn't. I pressed the record button, but it was on camera. So it really just took a picture. It didn't start recording. So I guess now we're recording, which is fine. Because I had to go and get reading glasses anyway. So I was looking at coffee grounds for the planet, for all of the people, and what I was looking at here has to do with all right, I don't know if you can see this here. So this over here is telling me, I was looking at this in terms of like an astrological chart, right? This up here around like 11th, 12th house, up that area, right, is telling me that there's a lot of people here that are trying to me, it has to do with a lot of clouds, a lot of people trying to like stay hidden in what they're doing, but you know, holding on to secrets, things like that. But I don't think that that is going to happen. It feels to me that there's going to be a lot of secrets that are coming out around things. And when we're talking about this thing that has to do with secrets coming out, what I was told is that these secrets that are coming out may not be people telling secrets on you. It may very well be you telling secrets about yourself, right? Because part of what it is that's going on here tells me that, you know, there are some people here who are trying to stay stuck, stay in the status quo, right? And that really cannot happen right now. When I say to you that people are being asked to do certain things, right? What that says to me is that because I channel information, right? The information doesn't just come from me, it comes from spirit. So when I say that people are being asked, it's like through their intuition, through their gut instincts, through the energy that's happening on the planet astrologically, right? And I'm not an astrologer, but I have been following it more recently. So especially for myself, so that I learn more about things. So it is important for you to know your own chart and stuff like that if you're going to be doing these things. So, but what I'm being told here is that there are things that are being revealed about people, but they're being revealed about you so that you do have more of an ability to move forward in your own world, right? For you to become more about your authentic self. Right? So the secrets that are being revealed are not necessarily, you know, big, deep, dark, like skeletons in the closet, but they can be just, if you've been trying to be a part of a clique, right? And you don't want to be a part of that clique anymore, right? There's a lot of stuff going on here that has to do with, you know, people becoming more their authentic self, right? And so, you know, being real, whatever, not stop being fake, right? So becoming more individualistic, right? It's like these things have to happen if you're going to progress in your life, if you're going to be successful in your life, right? So you can't be in a place where you are pleasing this, you know, this like clique here, right? If you're going to be successful, that's keeping you stuck, because your own internal hopes and dreams, the star card, right? I call it like your hopes, dreams, aspirations, right? So those things are trying to churn up in your life right now. And so you can't hold on to the past and move forward at the same time, right? It's a Two of Wands scenario, right? Two of Wands is like, shows like somebody holding on to one, right? They have to leave. They're trying to venture out into the world. And so, you can't stay in the past if you're trying to move forward, people. And so we are having this this full moon eclipse coming up. There are things aspecting the new moon, full moon. There's a lot of like Pluto activity happening around here, right? And things happening in the sign of Libra. So things happening in the sign of Libra have to do with like partnerships, right? The South Node is over there right now, and so that has to do with like endings, right? Things happening in Pluto. We're going into Scorpio time period. Pluto's the ruling planet of that. So that's all about like death and rebirth, right? Doors closing, new doors opening, right? And so the things that are happening with all of that that's what we're talking about here, right? Is doors closing, new doors opening, people going through transformation, right? Big transformation, right? The eclipse is like, the full moon is already about things ending, right? And then we're going into Scorpio time period, which is also like endings, rebirthing, huge kinds of transformation, right? That's part of what the eclipse is all about, right? Is related to transformation. It's like slamming doors shut, like closing things out. We're not doing that anymore. We're doing this now, right? And so this is why we're talking about how you're being asked to do things, right? Because these are bigger planets, and so they're having like bigger effects. Like Pluto was one of those planets that talk about, they talk about generational changes, right? So this is like sweeping changes, like planetary, like across the planet, right? So there are huge shifts that are happening with people right now. And so like, to me, the energy right now is feeling a little bit stuck, right? But it's also building, right? It's like I can feel things trying to happen, right? As a psychic, as a medium, right? I think we're being done with tea right now, with the coffee leaves right now, because Spirit is wanting to come in and say things, and so I just follow what Spirit says to do. So in around just before the 4th of November, right, this eclipse thing is happening, right? And so it can feel like, in this particular time period right now, it can feel like we're in this kind of black hole, right? This is what I'm being shown, is that we can feel like we're in this sort of black hole, everything being sucked into nothingness and all this, right? Part of this has to do with the activity around like the South Node, around, because that is about things being taken away, right? And why this is happening here is that things are being like removed from our life, and we don't believe that God tests us, or the universe tests us. We don't believe in that, but it is a thing about what are you having faith in, right? What is it that you are so attached to, right, that this thing is like so important to you, right? And why is it that important for you, right? Because things are being released that they're being taken away that it's not really like that important, right? It's like you believe that it is that important, right? But it's really not that important. Spirit is removing these things to kind of like, it's really about like rocking your world more like emotionally, right? Um, this is a full moon, right? And so the moons are related to emotions. They are all about like the tide, right? And and water. So water is all about emotions. So, you know, and Scorpio is transformation. So, there's all of this like kind of churning going on around here, right? So you are going to be asked to let go of some things, right? And the best thing that you can do right now is just chill out, right? Do what you can do to relax, to be your own person, to um, I'm being told that there's a lot of people out there that can be really like very needy, right? And like psychic vampires, social vampires, things like that. And so those people are going to have to learn how to like fend for themselves. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. Right. Oh, I forgot to say, you know what they always say. If you like the information that's being delivered here, hit like, subscribe, the whole algorithm thing. So, yeah, we're checking in on all of that. I usually try to get that out of the way at the beginning, but there was this abruptness that happened, so we forgot all of that. Anyway, so apparently we are done with that. So let's check in and see what's happening with people, right? All right. So let's look at the general energies going on between now and we'll call like the next week, right? All right. All right. We have the Fool. We have the Tower, of course. there's, there's the Star. 8 of Cups. 4 of Cups. 7 of Swords. 3 of Swords. 4 of Pentacles. Okay, so first card, Fool. So again, we're talking about starting a new cycle, being open, right? This guy is like, this is the Fool's journey, they call it, right? The 0 has to do with being open to all possibilities, right? This guy is about, he's about to be taking off, stepping off the cliff here. So it's about so taking a leap of faith. He's got a little dog with him, right? Spirit says that this has to do with like who's loyal to you, right? And also who is holding you back, right? I've never said that connected to the Fool card, but that's what we're looking at, right? So, the sun is shining here. It's like yellow, green, right? The sun means that there's more clarity coming in here. Yellow is all about that. Green, green represents as growth opportunities that are happening here, right? But you have to kind of strike out on your own, right? The Fool is all about himself. He's like starting a new cycle, and usually this comes up connected to it usually comes up connected to if it's your birthday, right? So, but it's not just like if this is a time period of your birthday. It has to do with this is like globally. It's all about things that are happening here with this Pluto thing that's happening here, all this transformation, Jupiter, where that's like sitting, like all the stuff that's happening planetarily, right? It's like the whole world like starting a new cycle around their life, right? And letting things go, right? Like this guy here, right? He has a sun behind him, right? So he's definitely, this, that Irish prayer thing, like, may the sun always be at your back, right? It's like, but he's out here doing things on his own, right? Like smelling the roses, right? And all this kind of stuff, right? All this like kind of growth activity, right? I don't care about all the snowy mountains in the background. I'm just doing my thing, right? Just, and again, right? This guy, right, he's only carrying this little bag, right? So what possessions are important to you, right? That's really what you have to be asking yourself as you're moving your life forward, right? So the next card is the Tower card, right? This is Mars energy, right? So I'm not sure if like the Fool is ruled by Uranus or not. Let me just see something here. I just want to double check what I'm looking at. I don't usually like discuss that, but since we're being asked to discuss that, let's find out. Hangman. La 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 la. Sing your own song. Have your own theme song, right? Fool card. Is, I don't know what that means. All right, so we're not going to deal with that at all then, I guess. Oh, what? So mote it be. Tower card, tearing down in order to rebuild. Major reorganization. Right? It's kind of interesting because we have the Fool, we have the Tower, we have the Star card. 3 major arcana cards. Boom, boom, boom. Right? So we talked about the Fool card. We're talking about the Tower. This is a tearing down in order to rebuild, major reorganization, right? It means that like if your life has been built on sand, right? If it's like this is the fakeness of it all, right? It's like, this is 26. 26 is an 8. 8 can be related to like money, finances. It's a 10, 15, 16. 16. 16 is a 7. Okay, not 8. So this is a 7 card. So 7 is the 7s are related to moving forward. So this is an octave of the Chariot card, is what it is. So it's a higher octave of that, right? So this lightning bolt here, this is symbolic of like the Mars symbol. Right? So it's like kicking people out of your life, right? People that no longer belong there, right? And it's a major shakeup going on here, right? And so it's like if you the Tower is something that happens for you. It's not something that happens to you, right? The Tower a lot of times gets a bad rap, right? Because it can be, like horrific kind of like breakups, divorces, things like that, right? It can be devastating activity, right? Depending upon how it shows up, right? But in this particular case, it's something that's being done for you, not to you. It's showing up here. The castle here, the tower, is basically like, you know, being struck by lightning, right? And it's because things weren't done right in the first place, right? So it wasn't built right, it wasn't constructed right. This is something that can be related to like businesses, or you know, like whoever your tribe is, right? Things like that, right? So it's definitely things being asked to, you know, be open, right? The Fool card, be open to major changes happening in your life in order to bring about your goals, dreams, and aspirations, right? Because that's really what is happening around here, right? So yes. So we do have the Star card here, which I did say before, right? It is about your goals, dreams, aspirations, right? It has to do with like you following your own star, right? How you're nurturing, how you're, it's a kind of balance also, right? It's very similar to, the Temperance card, right? But, and it's interesting because we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? So the same thing, right? 7. So it is kind of related to that, right? But it is more like an 8, right? So 8 stars, 8 pentacles. Right? 8 of Pentacles means to be focused on where it is that you want to go financially, right? So, but I think that this is a lot related to the 7, right? The Chariot, which is about moving forward, but moving forward in order to follow your own dream, right? So the Star card is about your goals, dreams, aspirations. What is that all about to you, right? This to me says that there's like some sort of a newness. The star is being lit up again, right? Because it's being lit up again because you weren't following it before, right? It tried to show up before, you weren't following it, right? You got lost in the crowd, right? And so, you know, it's like you started out following your star, then you got caught up in like all the clicks, all the drama, all that kind of stuff, right? And then the universe had to come in to like do a reset on your life, right? So now it's showing up again. What are your goals, dreams, aspirations are all about? What are you doing, right? What are you doing in your life, people? Right? So 8 of Cups is next, right? This is a card that does, you can see there is this eclipse here, right? So this is an 8 of Cups, talks about like walking away from things, right? Which is what we said earlier, right? And these cups here, the cups are full. The cups, you know, they're, you know, there's nothing wrong with them. They don't look tainted, anything like that, right? So it's like, it's not like there is something necessarily wrong with where you're at, right? But cups are about emotions, right? So it's like you're just feeling like it's time to walk away, right? The eclipse is happening here, and emotionally you're feeling like it's time to go, right? Starting a new adventure on yourself, right? It's the red here is all about passion, right? So it's like your lifeblood, like things like that, right? And sometimes I've seen like the 8 of Cups in terms of, you know, going inward to find your own journey, right? But, you know, it is related to that. So I look at things in terms of, you know, whatever the octave is. So the Strength card is an 8, right? And this is an 8. So it is about your strength. This is why this will talk about looking on the inside. So looking inside, seeing where you're going, what are you doing, right? All of that. So we have the Fool card, and underneath the Fool card we have the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups to me is always about like not getting needs met on an emotional level, right? Things are being offered to you. It's like, do I really want that? I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not, right? Because you're starting a new cycle here, and the things that you have been being offered, they're not really working for you anymore. So you're starting this new cycle and going off on your own way, right? The next cut up, right? Things aren't really working out emotionally where you're at, right? Again, we have like the 8 of Cups, and we have 4 of Cups, right? 7, right? Again, things related to the Chariot card, right? But this is the kind of lying, cheating, stealing. It's kind of tactics, right? I usually use the 7 of Pentacles as a fear of moving forward, holding on to old ideas, thinking that everything is going to be the same as it has always been, right? He's got these like swords running around here, right? New swords. The guy's looking backwards, right? Looking over shoulder. So it's like, stop looking at the past. You're not heading that direction, right? Move forward, right? Right? But this is a guy here who stole these swords from another camp, right? So like he's being tactile, right? Or not tactile, he's being tactical in his movement forward, right? You can see the way he's walking here. He's like sneaking, right? And kind of leaving things behind, right? So, right? And the 3 of Swords is here. So the 3 of Swords is a lot about like sorrow, heartache, things like that, right? But it's an imbalance really between your head and your heart, right? So you're being tactile here as you're moving forward, right? And yeah, there's going to be loss, there's going to be sorrow. I usually say that every time there's an ending, there's going to be a grieving process, right? So, so again, like tactile moving forward, right? And I will say this, that it's important for you not to, lying, cheating, stealing could be somebody else, but it could also be you, right? So be aware of your actions as you're moving forward, right? Because because things are blowing up around here, right? There are going to have to be like tactical ways of moving forward around here, right? So yeah, like sorrow, heartache, things like that, right? But you're leaving things behind, right? So because this is about your goals, dreams, aspirations, right? So the Star card is here. And not the Star card, well, the Star card is there, but 3 of Swords, like sorrow, heartache, things like that, right? 3s are connected to the Empress card, right? So Empress is all about like creativity, birthing, things like that, right? So the 3 of Swords is like, pay attention, right, to the balance between your head and heart, right? The rain is there, right? Right? Into every life a little rain must fall, right? But it's like we said, right? Secrets being revealed, right? Other people may be revealing secrets to you, right? So it's like, relationships can be ending, falling apart, right? But it's not necessarily a bad thing that things are happening, right? Every time there's an ending, there's a grieving process, right? And, but this sorrow, this heartache here, it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? And I will say this, right? The 3 of Swords can be related to like people with like heart conditions, things like that, right? So I'm just going to throw this out there, right? If there are deaths that are happening, those people are choosing to move on, right? It's their way of following their own goals, dreams, aspirations as well, right? Like, because, you know, it's kind of looking at the bigger picture, right? So, and it can be rough for the person who is staying here, right? However, the one that's leaving, we can't be holding on to them, right? They have their own life to be leading, right? And just because they're passing away, right? They're going into a new realm. That is still a way of raising your vibration, right? So it would be really an important time period to like be celebrating their life, right? Not catastrophizing about like an ending, right? Different people have different karma about the way that they pass, right? So not every passing is easy, not every passing is simple. Some people pass away in catastrophic lives, in catastrophic ways, right? And I understand that. I know people that has happened to. However, as somebody that is a medium, when I see them on the other side, right? My mother just passed away in June, right? When I see them on the other side, they're not in this place about like grieving and sadness and like I died in this horrific way and blah 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 whatever, right? Like they're not doing that, right? People who are alive do that. The ones who are past, they're like looking at their lives. What did I learn? What did I do? Did I achieve the goals that I wanted to achieve? And you know, I see people who are on the other side, and they're there, and they're like helping the people who are here. So they're not gone, right? It may take them a little while for you to feel their vibration, right? But that will happen when you are done grieving, right? So it's up to you, right? And you could be mad, you can be angry about however it is that they passed away, right? Or, you know, or you can be happy that they're in a nice place, that they're in places with like their relatives, that they're in this place about a homecoming, that you know, I have even people that I have seen that have suicided, right? I've never seen anybody in hell, right? Not like Catholic hell. I've seen people who have suicided, where, who's the guy that drank the Kool-Aid, right? And like killed everybody with the Kool-Aid, right? Even him, like I don't see him in hell, right? I see him in what I call like being in stasis. And some people are in stasis longer than other people, right? But they're in this place where they are going through their life, right? I've never seen like the St. Peter thing, right? You know, going before St. Peter and kind of, you know, checking through your life, whatever. It's like I see people who are in stasis and like going over their life and kind of being like, you know, like, what did I do? Why did I do this? Right? And sometimes those things like take longer than other times, right? But anybody that has passed away, I have never seen anybody in like burning flames or anything like that, right? I don't think that any of that exists. So, like, no matter how anybody has passed away, other than suicide, right? And even people that have suicided, like, I've seen them not be in this like stasis thing, right? They've like suicided and they're done with their pain and they're in a much better place and with their relatives and ancestors and all of that thing, and they're able to help other people who are here. So, you know, so there's all of that. So, sorry, we went off on a whole thing. Well, sorry, not sorry. So the next card is the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles is, again, what are you holding on to, right? Like, as you're moving forward here, right? You know, you may have your ideas about what you need. You may have your heart set on what it is that you need, right? But it's like, ultimately, this guy is sitting here by himself, right? And and eating his watermelon. I don't know why I said that. It's just whatever. But you know, Four of Pentacles is usually about like holding on to money, saving money, stuff like that, right? But fours are a number of stability. In the Crowley deck, it's another deck that I use. In the Crowley deck, it's about power. It's about building a new foundation around your life. It's like it has a lot to do with, you know, there's a drawbridge there. So it's like there has to be a give and take, right? So it's like as you're moving forward here, right, there can be some heartache because you're trying to hold on, right? So if you want to set yourself free, if you want to have your goals, dreams, and aspirations, and moving forward in your life, right, you're gonna be asked about, you know, what is it that's important to you, right? What do you really need to be bringing or not? So there is that. All right. All right. So that's all of that. So let's go through really quickly here, or sort of quickly, and we're going to look at the different signs. First sign up is Aries. What's happening with Aries under this particular time period? All right. Aries. What does Aries have to know? Show me things about Aries for the next week. Aries. Show me about Aries. Aries. All right. Aries, new emotional beginnings. The High Priestess, which is a lot about trusting your instincts. Queen of Pentacles, and King of Cups. Let me see here. We'll pull a couple of cards as like clarifiers to kind of get a better view about what this is. Show me what's happening here for Aries. Clarify these cards for us and let us know what it is that's going on around here. All right, with the Ace of Cups, so funny. With the Ace of Cups, we have the Queen of Pentacles. With the High Priestess, we have the Strength card. With the Queen of Pentacles, we have the Ten of Wands. With the King of Cups, we have the Ten of Swords. So, Ace of Cups is about new emotional beginnings happening here. This Ace of Cups can be vacation time period. It can be new home, right? But it is new emotional beginnings. Aces are about the self. So this is about taking care of you emotionally. What is feeding you emotionally right now, right? And so Queen of Pentacles, right? She is ruled by, normally she is ruled by the sign of Capricorn. So, or some other earth sign person, right? So this is a card about fertility. There's a little rabbit down the bottom there. Sometimes rabbits can represent like anxiety, stress like that, right? But she's focused on whatever she's doing with her money, finances, stuff like that, right? So this is a card that can be like both of these symbols here can represent like growth, right? So, but to me, I would say that this is asking you what it is that how you're being fed emotionally connected to your work, right? There can be the Queen of Pentacles here. She can very well be somebody who is trying to help you, like to do something different connected to your emotions. She's somebody that can be helping you connected to your work, your job, your career, things like that, right? She could be somebody in human resources, things like that, right? She could be in real estate, trying to help you find a new home, right? But to me, she is talking about, or she could be someone who's passed away as well, right? Because like spirit is sitting up here, right? The Holy Spirit, as they call it, right? So doves are about peace, joy, happiness, things like that, right? So, but you're being offered something that is new, right? That's why the hand is coming out of the clouds like that. So Aries, like, welcome to the club. I have no idea where that came from. Right? Spirit says this is going to be opportunities here for you to step up, right? So especially if you've been, Spirit is telling me that if you've been kind of sitting on the sidelines, right, you're being asked to step up, right? To open your voice, right? Open your mouth, say what it is that you want, right? Follow your heart, right? Like I'm being shown here, open your mouth, but it's like because your emotions here have been being stuck, right? It's like especially if you've been like too grounded, right? So Spirit is showing me this thing here about again, the only way you're being able to get ahead is if you open your mouth, follow your heart. And Aries, this is a huge, huge time period for you to be getting unstuck, right? It's huge, right? And it definitely showed me this thing about opportunities for you to be changing where it is that you live, especially if it is something for a new job opportunity. So that was interesting. So the High Priestess here, right? High Priestess is about your intuition, right? Your psychic ability is probably going to be amping up right now, right? Pay attention to your dreams. We don't have the Moon card here, but you may very well be getting like weird dreams, things like that, right? Again, we're talking about, we had the Eight of Cups earlier, right? And that's the Strength card. Strength card is about your internal strength, right? It's about like the things that you desire, right? And Spirit asking you, what is it that you desire, Aries, right? This card is ruled by the sign of Leo, but it is about, in other cards, it's called lust, which is things that you lust after, right? What is it that you lust after? And the High Priestess is asking you, why don't you think that you can have that, right? Because you have the strength to be able to do it, right? And they're asking you to own your strength, own your own abilities, right? Your strengths, your abilities, own your own psychic ability. Oh, because Spirit is trying to have communication here with you internally, right? Trusting your instincts, right? And there can be a lot of internal pressure going on right now, right? And so if you're sitting there, right, chest clamped, right, Ace of Cups, right? If you're sitting there, chest clamped, and it's like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I have to be good, I have to do things right, I have to do things according to other people, I have to do this, I have to do this, right? That's going to become very tiring, and it can feel like you're going to explode, right? There's a lot of internal energy combustion going on here, right? This full moon, like we said earlier, it's like things are ramping up, right? There can be, it can feel like there's you know, a void, things like that happening, right? Black hole, and you're being asked to like be like, oh, what do we need now? What do we want to do next? What do we want to do next, right? It's like you cannot stay stuck. Your feet are not glued to the floor. Okay. Again, we have like the Queen of Pentacles in this deck and the Ten of Wands. So this is about harvesting things, right? As we're moving into Capricorn time period, right? There's going to be a harvest, right? So right now, things, you could very well be getting different kinds of responsibilities, that because the Ten of Pentacles is connected to burdens, problems, responsibilities. So you could very well be part of this can be if you're having to take responsibility for people who are older, people who are sick, things like that, right? And this is a time about giving, right? For some of you, this can be a time period about like giving to other people, right? So there's a whole thing that goes on about there's a whole thing that goes on about people who feel like they're in a place of poverty. They're not able to get ahead, right? All this kind of stuff, right? So the way to get out of that is to be generous, right? If you have felt like, you know, I have to hold on, I have to hold on. If you're in a place of greed, right, then you're going to find yourself in a place of lack, right? So this is a time period about rebirth. It's a time period about doing things differently, right? So you could feel a lot of like burdens here because you're being asked to do things, but it's like do things with joy, right? Be grateful, like do like, and I don't even want to say grateful, but it's like, and I'm not saying give away your whole paycheck, right? I'm saying it's like, if you're being asked to do things, right, then give like generously, give out of a sense of, not out of a sense of obligation, not out of a sense of duty, but it's more about having your heart be open, right? Again, the Ace of Cups, right? Having your heart be open, because when your heart is open, you also have an ability to receive, right? Because this is coming to a place where you're going to be receiving. This is about a harvest that is coming, right? Ten of Wands is burdens, problems, responsibilities, right? But this guy is also almost home. So, so it can be things like that that are showing up around here. Right? So next card, King of Cups, right? This can be a very emotional time period for a lot of you, right? It can be very stressful. Ten of Swords it's a lot about mental, emotional stress made physical, right? This is a time period that can be a lot about like endings. We have the Ten of Wands, we have the Ten of Swords, right? This is a card about endings, but also this it's called the mudra. The way the guy is holding his hand here, it's the same way that the guy in the Hierophant card is holding his hand. So this is about losses, endings, things like that, that like blessings and surprise, blessings in disguise, rather. Right? So, this he feels like there's somebody here who is coming in to be able to help you, right? This, again, this is a very emotional time period, right? The King of Cups, he's sitting on all this water here, right? So it's like, trust your instincts when you're in this place of stress, right? So again, it's like, this can be, we're moving into Scorpio time period, right? So in Scorpio time period for you, it can be very, it's something that can be very stressful, right? However, again, it's like, because it can be endings taking place here for you, right? And Aries doesn't really like to admit that they are emotional people, right? Doesn't mean they're not. It just means that they don't like to admit it, right? My brother is an Aries. He's very loud, right? Like, right? But he's also very emotional, right? Doesn't really like talk about his emotions, whatever, but he's definitely ruled by his emotions. He likes to be very like grounded. He likes to act like everything is like, he's one of those people that like stomp. Right? He walks hard on the earth, whatever. Right? But he's definitely somebody who is an emotional character, right? So, so yeah, so this can be like stressful, but I think it's because you're not really seeing how things are coming, right? You're not really seeing how things are happening, right? You may feel how things are happening, but you may not see how things are happening. And, Aries, they're the emperor, so control freaks, right? So you may have to just kind of like sit with things a little bit. So, like I said, things are going to be better. It's just a matter of time, right? You just have to kind of, as they say, like, trust the process, right? Okay, so what is happening here for Taurus people? What's happening for Taurus? What's happening for Taurus? What's happening? Taurus, Taurus, Taurus. Taurus the bull. What's happening for Taurus over the course of this week? Okay. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. Death. So, for Taurus people, Jupiter is in your sign. The North Node is actually in Aries right now, but Uranus is in there. So the death card is about doors closing, new doors opening. Scorpio could be very interesting for you, right? We're moving into Scorpio time period, right? There's going to be a lot of like doors closing, new doors opening. The death card is ruled by, the 8th house is ruled by, the 8th house is ruled by Pluto, which this is the death card, right? It's Scorpio. So there's going to be a lot of things that come up here related to like doors closing, new doors opening, right? Transformation, right? Just huge. So this reading is meant to be over the course of the next week, right? But I am sensing that there's been a lot of changes for you over the course of the last month and into the third week of, I say that's the third week of November. So Spirit is showing me this whole anything that has to do with upheaval for you. And so things are going to start balancing out when we get to the third week of November, right? It's really just like a matter of time before you get there, right? Two of Swords, right? There's a lot of choices that have to get made here. To me, the Two of Swords is kind of about separation, right? So, again, right, we're talking about doors closing, new doors opening, right? Two of Swords is also related to like trust issues, things like that, right? But it's definitely kind of about like choices. Usually when the Two of Swords comes up, it can be like whatever choice you make is the right choice, right? It's the right choice for you, right? There is this moon sitting up here, right? And this is a water sign, right? The death card is ruled by the sign of Scorpio, so water, right? So it is a card that is about following your heart, right? Making the right emotional choices that are for you, right? And so I don't know what's going on in your I don't know if that's like fourth, fifth house, whatever. Um, I'm being told things related to being a caretaker, right? And so you may have to be taking care of people, whoever they're saying whoever your soulmate is, whoever your family is, whatever, right? It's like you may be asked to be taking care of people like differently. So we're not saying like don't take care of anybody. We're just saying that for Taurus people, you may be being asked to take care of people like differently, right? Um, Taurus people can be kind of stubborn, so um, you may have to relinquish control of things. You may have to delegate, right? So things like that. So Taurus, we have the Emperor card here. So this is a card that's related to fatherhood, right? But this is also control, right? So the Emperor card can be related to government type things as well, right? And it's interesting, the Emperor card and the Four, right? So this can be good if you're looking for like places to live, things like that. If you're looking at like changing where you live, right? Some people use the Four of Wands as like relationship thing, like celebration related to relationships. I use it for the house, right? And so it's interesting because both of these are fours, and fours are a number of stability, right? So you are moving into this place where you can be more in control, but I am being told you can't rush it, right? If you try to rush things, right, then you're going to miss opportunities, right? Because better things are trying to happen for you, but it's like you really have to, um, you really have to allow things to progress in the way that they are meant to progress, right? Um, There are going to be a lot of things that are coming up for you connected to family, though, right? So the sun is here. Sun means like better days are coming. The sun is about clarity, healing, things like that. Um, and then there's victory here. So you're definitely moving into like better places here as far as your life is concerned. Like Ace of Pentacles, new money coming in here. It could be a lot of money too, because the Six of Pentacles is a card that's related to like it's something that can be related to generosity as well, right? So it's like if you're receiving a lot of money, then you can have enough to like help other people as well, right? So the way that this is like sitting here is that so this is really meant to be over the course of the next like week or so, right? But I'm being shown here that you can definitely be in places where you're moving into being able to have your own business. The Emperor card is there, right? So, and especially because the Ace of Pentacles is there, the Six of Pentacles. moving into places where if you're looking to have your own business, stuff like that, I think that's going to come up for like a lot of you, right? Independence, entrepreneurial based things, or even if you're working for other people, it can still be moving into jobs where you're still being independent somehow or another. Um, this doesn't really look like relationship oriented things. However, I do feel like your family is, and I'm talking about like husband, wife, children, things like that kind of family. I feel like this is something where that's going to be taking on a bigger kind of priority, right? How are you taking care of your family? What are you doing for family, right? And even if you are somebody that is single, right, and just really like taking care of yourself, right? I feel like relationships could be taking on a bigger kind of meeting. So because these cards feel like they're more related to work, business, stuff like that, right? Your head could be all about that, right? And so, that is something that can be going into a place where, where you are more in control as far as that is concerned. And so when that is leveling out, relationships are gonna come in and kind of take a precedence, right? So right now it's all about work, but Spirit is asking you to look into what you're doing as far as like your relationship things are concerned, right? Because it feels like that's not really a priority, but they're asking you to make it be a priority at some point here. Deal with your money and finances, stuff like that, and then like deal with your relationship stuff. So, all right, Gemini, we're going to switch it up here a little bit, make things interesting. Gemini. What's happening in the world of Gemini? We're going to look at Moonology cards and this like angel deck that I have here. What's happening in the world of Gemini? Gemini. Oh, this says full moon in Virgo. So this card says you are good enough. So Gemini, if you're having these things here where you're not feeling good enough and being down on yourself, right, you also have this card here about vision. So if you're not feeling good enough about yourself, this time period is going to be, it's really just what I know is that is something that is coming up because of what's happening in the planets, right? That, things are in the process of changing for you, Gemini, especially on an emotional level, right? They're asking you what your vision is. I mean, where do you want to be? Where are you going? What do you want your life to look like? Right? And know that you are good enough to have that manifest, right? This is a full moon, right? This card is a full moon in Virgo, which I understand that the full moon that's coming up is not in Virgo, it's in Taurus, right? Virgo is about like health, healing, things like that, right? And but this does talk about a full moon in general. So we are talking about the eclipse is going to bring up things where you're going to have to like own your own vision, right? And be like, you know, like, I am good enough to be able to have this vision. It's like you're being asked to step out of your shell and like go after the things that it is that you want. Right? Another full moon card. This is like, it just says like full moon. This talks about surrender to the divine. Believe. Right? So Spirit is definitely all around you, Gemini. Like, this feels like really intense and really like very personal. Right? This is a weird card. It says like nothing will come out of this situation. Right? So yeah. And a learning experience. So what this is talking about here is that if you're in this place here where you don't feel like you are good enough, right? Nothing is coming out of that situation, right? This is why there's telling you, usually when the card is showing up at the end, it's more of an outcome card. But sometimes it's a card that can be what it is that's getting in the way, right? So this is telling you that these things that you have here about these feelings about like you're not good enough, things like that, or if you come from a place of trauma, things like that, right? Those were learning experiences around your life, right? And right now the learning experience is more about like believe in your vision, right? For your life, because you are good enough to be able to go after the things that you want. Right? For some reason or another, this Gemini thing feels very internal, right? It doesn't feel very external. It feels like whatever it is that's happening with Gemini, that they're having more of a, I don't know if I want to call it like an existential crisis or something like that, but they're having a lot of upheaval on the inside and kind of a lot of internal changes happening here. I think that comes up a lot with like the tower thing, because when you have the tower, it's like changes happen on the inside before they happen on the outside. So yes, hidden gems. This is a pearl card, right? So it's like pearls happen after a long period of time, right? That like grinding inside the clam, right? It's like they do not form overnight. So whatever it is that you have been struggling for, whatever it is that you've been going after, right? Even this card, right? The old woman, right? Things have taken time. And so you may be in this place. This card is called sadness, right? So you may be in this place where feeling like, oh, like things haven't worked out, things haven't this, things haven't that, things haven't, right? That doesn't mean that they're not going to happen. It means that things are happening in their own time, right? You have the whale, which is the wisdom keeper, right? Whale is about knowledge, right? It's about universal deep knowledge, right? And so to me, this is like, if you have this feeling like something big is meant to happen for you, right? But why hasn't it happened? Why hasn't it happened? Why hasn't it happened, right? It's getting ready to happen like now, right? There is a thing that happens connected to manifestation, right? So as we're moving into this, like, full moon eclipse, right? It's important that you're planting seeds and knowing what it is that you want, right? And be willing to have your vision, be willing to plant seeds for that whole thing, right? Because if you're in this place about oh, like I can't, or I shouldn't, or I can't, or it's never happened before, or never happened before, right? So why should I bother, right? So it's like, this is about you getting out of your own way, right? And so I understand that this is not resonating for every Gemini, but I think that this is about those Gemini people who have this kind of internal kind of like struggle going on and having to get out of their own way, right? The Geminis, um, the Geminis who are not in this place, they probably already know that things are like, they probably already know that things are going to be moving in a good direction for them. They just kind of expect that to happen, right? And so, you know, so this is for a particular set of Geminis, right? That that you have to know that things can happen for you, because there is kind of like this upheaval that is trying to happen for you. So it's up to you to get with the program or not, right? You can stay where you are or not, right? But there's definitely a lot of big changes here that are happening like for you. And so I feel like you're being pushed into this place to create a vision, to have a vision. I feel like there's a lot of internal kind of like churning up here, right? The clock right now says like 111, right? 111. New beginnings, Gemini. Okay, next sign is Cancer. What's happening with the sign of Cancer? Cancer people, Cancer babies, what's happening with the sign of Cancer? Cancer, victory, separation, trust issues, strength, 9 of Wands, loss. Okay, so there have been, there's victory here. Right? You have the Two of Swords, which is a card about like, to me, like I said before, it's a card about like separation. And again, in this deck, it is called peace. So whatever choices you make, or whatever kind of endings, separations are happening, right? It's something that is being done for you, not to you, right? And you have the Strength card here. This is a card about endings, right? This is the Sun in Sagittarius. So it can be things that come up related to travel. We have a 5 of Cups here, which is about disappointment. Right. So this does look like there are a lot of things that are coming up here connected to endings for you, Cancer people. And it's kind of interesting because I usually see Scorpio as like, you know, like the bottom of the ocean, meaning that they're the ones with like the bigger feelings, the deeper feelings, the feelings that are hidden, right? This feels to me like you're having some kind of tsunami, right? A tsunami of emotions. And you could very well be having this tsunami of emotions about things that are ending, and like, and I need this to end, and like this stuff has to be done, right? And like, why can't we get rid of this thing? When is this thing ending, right? And so it's like you're asking for these endings, and I would just say, like, you know, one of those things that's like, be careful what you ask for. Right? Because this big wave you have here, right, it is like clearing out. It's clearing out all of these things that you no longer require. It's the things, it's clearing, and whether those things are being moved out whether those things are being moved out for you or whether you were doing things in your life to get rid of them on your own, right? There are endings here, right? And there's victory related to this. So, good for you. Good for you, Cancer people. The thing that I'm being shown here, though, right, is that, okay, so you're clearing out all of these things, right? There's a lot of endings that are taking place here, right? So now you're here and you're sitting here in your own world, right? King of Cups, Queen of Cups, whatever, right? Like, Lord of, like, your own, like, emotions, right? How you want to call that, King, Queen, whatever. So you're sitting there, being in charge now, and Spirit is like, now what? Now what, Cancer? Now what are you going to do, right? So these things, they've been a burden for you, like, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like this, right? So now they're gone, right? Now what are you going to do, right? Now what's up, Cancer? One of the things that happens with right, so this usually comes up connected to like people that are addicts, right? And they want to blame everybody else for their problem, right? And so they push everybody away. So they live by themselves, right? Then they have to, so then what that means is that they have to then take responsibility for their own life, right? So I think that's what this is going to happen here for these like Cancer people here. So fine, it's like all these things are leaving and now what are you doing, right? What do you want to do with your life? Where do you want to go? Like, because you have these goals, dreams, and aspirations that have been running around in your head, right? I want to do this, 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 right? But all these other things have been in your way, and like blaming these other people because, you know, or other situations, these things are in your way, these things are in your way, right? So now all this stuff is gone, right? You're sitting in this like land of luxury, right? That's what the Nine of Pentacles is, right? And so now you're in this place of quandary. The Lover's card is, I don't usually use it for like lovers, right? But it is connected to a source. So if relationships have ended, right, it's like you could very well be bringing in like, you know, a bigger kind of relationship for you, right? But it's like, it doesn't necessarily mean boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. It means like, you know, what are you doing? What kind of relationship are you looking for here, right? The Moon card, right? Trusting your instincts, right? Things that are hidden, right? Then we are moving into Scorpio time period, right? Which is water. Deep feelings like we were talking about before, right? You have the Moon card, you have 10 of Cups here, right? So to me, it's like you have these endings, and so you may not necessarily be able to see, right? You may not be able to see what it is that actually makes you happy, right? Because you're used to the losses, right? But now those losses are done, right? Nine is completion, right? So now that those things are done, now you're going to have to look, right? And because the 10 of Cups is here. So marriage, happiness, family, right? Ultimate happiness, things like that. So those things are done. Like, now what? In another internal sort of a situation here. What is it that makes you happy? What do you want to do? Where are you going in your life? You know, all these kinds of things, right? There can be like some sort of financial gain that's happening around here. Right? But this looks like it has more to do with whatever is happening on an energetic level. Like the Two of Swords is the mind. The Nine of Wands is like your energy. Five of Cups is emotions, right? And so the Ten of Cups, emotions, right? And so it's not necessarily about specific people in your life, but it is about who is that actress? I just want to be alone, right? Which is not true, right? It's like you're not really wanting to be alone. I mean, you just want the people who have been soul sucking you, right? Like vampires, right? Psychic vampires. Those people you want out of your life, right? So now you're looking to invite other people in, or at least you will be anyway, over the course of this next month. Cancer, next year is going to be really, really big for you, right? Like really big. This feels like there's going to be a big period of adjustment. There's all these endings that have been really going on over the last like month or so into the, I'm told, into the ending of November as we're getting into Sagittarius time period, right? Which is this, right? So there's all these endings, things clearing away, all that kind of like adjustments taking place, right? A lot of like, you know, all these things ending, and then a readjustment of your internal kind of energy going on. And then it's like, so then it's like, okay, like now what? So then after we get into Sagittarius time period, there's more fire going on. There can, like, that's a lot related to like travel, things like that, which is going to be like, you know, how are you now moving forward as far as your life is concerned, right? But Spirit tells me that this is going to be a year about building a new house, right? It can be physically building a new house, but this next year, and I'm not saying it's starting in 2024, but I am saying it's like, I think that over this past month, you've already started construction on a new you. Like, who are you? What are you all about? So, yeah, big changes happening there for you. All right. Cancer, and then after Cancer, Leo. What's happening in the sign of Leo? Leo, you just fell out of the deck. It's all about you, Leo. Leo, what's happening? What's happening for the sign of Leo? Of course, in the next week or so, what's happening for the sign of Leo? Leo. What's happening for Leo? All right. First card up. So, Leo. The Queen of Pentacles is a card about, generally it's a card about like Capricorn, but then you have the King of Pentacles. So this is going to be a time period where you are going to be focusing more around like money, finances, things like that. How you can, like, you have the Queen of Pentacles, you have the King of Pentacles, right? So divine counterparts. This is going to be a lot about how you are in charge of like your money, finances, things like that, right? And so the focus here, it's like, and you know, Pentacles are physicality, right? So it's like, how are you taking care of yourself on a physical level, right? Spirit is telling me that, you know, King of Pentacles, this, in this particular deck anyway, right? This guy here, he's got his little ticker tape thing, whatever, or at least reminds me of that anyway, right? This can be a big time period for you that has to do with investments, right? And we're not just talking about, you know, Wall Street and like, you know, stocks, bonds, everything like that, right? But we are talking about what are you investing in, like for you, for your life, whether it's like school, education, things like that, right? Like, what is it that you're investing in for yourself, right? For your life, for your long-term kind of like goals, dreams, aspirations, for your stability, right? You have this card here. This is Sagittarius. This is the Page of Wands, which is a card about, it is a card about communication, right? I use this as like a spark of new life. This card itself is ruled by it is ruled by Sagittarius here. So so there is this eclipse thing is being very weird for people, because you have this Five of Pentacles here, really, which is about worry about money, finances, right? Then you have this card here, which can bring you into this kind of like wild kind of energy that can be, you know, you want to kind of be careful about like crazy people around you. And when I say that, I mean like chaos, right? People who are kind of like throwing you off your game. And so it's like, you know, you could very well be in this place, which is planetarily, right? Things that are happening out there planet-wise. There can be things that are kind of like throwing you off, kind of, you know, kind of like churning up like old emotions, things like that, right? Like your energy being like kind of crazy making, right? You could be experiencing things where you're dealing with like losses, things like that, right? So, you know, this didn't go this way, this didn't go this way, this didn't go this way, right? And so, like, to me, this feels like you could very well be revisiting things from the course of your life, right? Like a life review, basically, which doesn't mean you're going to be dead. It just means that, you know, next we have like the Devil card, which is about like, it is, I use the Devil card for like a power struggle, right? And so it's like limitations and restrictions. Usually they're self-made limitations, restrictions, right? And the Devil card can be connected to extravagance, things like that. It's kind of related to addiction, things like that, right? It's another card that is connected to like Capricorn time period, right? So we have the Two of Cups here, which is about like love, relationships, things like that, right? So Leo does like to be independent, right? So again, we're talking about the power struggle around relationships, right? And so you're dealing with that. Queen of Wands. Hello, Leo. Right? It's all about like your power, right? And how, and then the Three of Wands is, it's kind of about like, in some ways it has to do with like your ship coming in, right? But three is our number of creative energy, things like that, right? It's kind of looking out and seeing where it is that you want to go, what do you want to do, what do you want to be in your life, things like that, right? So the way that this is sitting here is that, you know, it's like you're dealing with all of your money, right? And like kind of, you know, all of your money, some of your money, whatever your financial situation is, right? Being concerned about your money, whether you're, you know, whether you're having like loss around money. Five of Pentacles usually tells me that you're worth more than what it is that you're making, right? That there is help are available to you, right? These people here, they're sitting in front of this church, right? Or walking around in front of this church, right? But they're also leaving, right? They're leaving and heading off in a new direction to get someplace that is better, more beneficial for them, right? So to me, this is like talking about, you're dealing with a lot of like money, finances, like a lot of stuff that's connected to stability, right? Is really what that means, right? But this to me feels like you haven't really been dealing with like people very much, whether that is like COVID is or not, whatever. It's like keeping people at arm's length, right? Whatever it's all about, right? And it has to do with you and your power, right? Like the Queen of Wands is very much like Leo. It's like I'm in my own power and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm gonna go after whatever it is that I want to do, right? But this is telling me that you're coming into this place where you're gonna have to let your walls down and you're gonna have to really look at how you are inviting people into your life again, right? Because this makes me feel like whoever it is that's listening to this, it makes me feel like you've had walls up for a long time and like, and then you're sitting there wondering why you have like acquaintances or you have, limited number of people around you or, you know, when you have walls, right, the walls don't just keep people out, it keeps you in, right? So this is a time period where things are going to try to change for you, right? Um, Spirit tells me that you're being asked to celebrate your life, right? And it can be difficult to celebrate your life if you're not really having like quote unquote like friends around you, right? So, you can have like your family around you, whatever, right? But it's like if it's really just like your family of origin, right? Things like that, you know, that can be one thing, but this is like you're being asked to bring in like friends, right? Because Two of Cups is not just about like boyfriend, girlfriend people, right? Two of Cups is about like people in general. It's like whatever the relationships are, it's like it's connected to your higher self, right? And so your higher self is definitely here and kind of trying to like renew things here, right? Make things like different. So it's very interesting. Okay. Um, what are we looking at here for Virgo? All right. Let's look at this. Virgo people. What's happening for my Virgos? Virgo, Virgo, Virgo. Whoa. Death card fell out. So again, like doors closing, new doors opening. We're experiencing the moment. Because we are moving into Scorpio time period. So I think that you are being asked to be in the moment, be where you are. Yes, doors are closing, new doors are opening, and so you can be this in there like, why are the doors like not open yet? Right. So we'll see what's coming up here for you, Virgo. We'll use these ones. What are we looking at here as far as Virgo people are concerned? One, two, three, four. Okay. All right. So Virgo, we have the Death card. We have the Ten of Pentacles. So, so yes, doors closing, new doors opening. Right. This is Saturn in Sagittarius. It's so interesting. My Saturn is in house of like, well, actually it's in Capricorn, but they're both connected in there. So seems like personal to me. Um, that's funny. So tens are a one, right? This is a completion of a cycle where this is about burdens, problems, responsibilities, right? And so you are in this place where doors are closing, new doors are opening. You're experiencing like a rebirthing situation right now, right? And so it's like waiting for the change to happen, right? And how it's being like difficult, right? But remember that the ten of wands is a card that has to do with a harvest is coming, right? So um it is on its way. It's a matter of time, right? Probably when we get into Scorpio time period. So and we're on the verge of that right now, right? So I'm not exactly sure when it turns, but I think today's the 22nd. Um, so we may already be there. I'm not sure what day it turns. But anyway, this can be it's something that can be a difficult time period because it's like you want to go, 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 right? And this is being like, be in the moment, right? Be in the moment, Virgo, and like pay attention to where you are. And we know that it can be difficult to kind of sit, right? We know Virgos don't do that very well. So, we'll see. All right. See, Hangman, right? Delays, procrastination, things like that. Caught between a rock and a hard place, right? Worry, usually worry about money, finances, right? And, feeling stuck. Are we going to be stuck forever? Right? Like, I am a Virgo. This makes complete sense to me, right? So, are we going to be stuck forever? No, you're not going to be stuck forever, right? There are going to be financial changes here. It's just a matter of time. Right? So most of your difficulties are coming because you're worried, right? And worrying is not really going to get you anywhere, Virgo. So there is money coming in around here, probably within the course of the next like 9 days or so, right? So Nine of Pentacles is about money, finances, things like that coming in. So, and there is success here, right? So this Nine of Pentacles, or Six of Pentacles rather, which is a card about generosity, like I said earlier, right? But in this particular deck, I use this as a boardroom, right? So you can see here, it looks like a boardroom, right? But I use this really for a spiritual boardroom. I usually use this as like saying like, like spirit is in the background and they're doing things for you, things are lining up, right? It's just like a matter of time before you kind of get there, right? But, money is coming in, right? It's really just like a matter of time. There is going to be financial success here, right? You are going to be living in, a place of like comfort, right? So is it a $1 billion home? Maybe, maybe not, right? But it is going to be, you are moving into a place of a comfort zone, right? At least like financially anyway. So there is success coming. All right. So there is communication here, right? And then the Eight of Pentacles here, prudence, right? So like we said a few minutes ago, right? We want things to happen now, like fast, 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 right? So things may not be going the way that you want them to go to in terms of like fast, right? But this card is called swiftness. And this is the Eight of Pentacles is a card that has to do with prudence. It is about whatever ideas you have running around the back of your head, put those things into action over the course of the next 8 weeks, right? But it's prudence, right? So it's like act accordingly, right? Be prudent in your decisions, right? So it's like you may very well have this money thing coming in, right? But like be prudent with your money, right? You want to make sure that whatever you're doing financially, right, whether you have all kinds of money or whether it is like a little bit of money, right? They are saying be prudent with your money, right? Like pay attention to how you're spending money, where you're putting it, things like that, right? So especially like if you're used to having like difficulty related to money and finances, right? There's now going to be a sense of like success around your money, right? So be prudent, right? So that you are not going backwards and having difficulty around your money, right? So this new moon here, this like full moon eclipse is going to be like good. It's really just like a matter of time, right? They're telling me that by the time we get to like the 27th, you're going to start feeling like changes. Things are going to feel like they're more stable here. And it's just, I'm not sure what day the 27th falls on, but the 26th, 27th, you're going to feel this shift take place here. So, you know, it's going to be fine. It's interesting. I'm being shown a well filled with water, right? Water is about emotions, right? But water can be connected to money, finances, things like that, right? So some people say like don't go to the empty well, which is usually related to, you know, like your family. Right? The empty well is usually related to, you know, people who don't feed you emotionally, right? So, so with this well here that I'm being shown and the well being full and practically overflowing, I think that you are going to have people around you who are going to be there for you emotionally, not just because you have money, right? But so I think that that is going to be there. But it feels like it's going to be new, right? I don't think that you're used to this. The water is kind of like sloshing back and forth, so I think it's going to be emotional. I think it's going to be like a pretty emotional time period for you. But I think that you yourself are going to be full emotionally, right? Which is interesting. So, like, if you're not used to having, like, you know, your own emotional support from yourself, right? Like, if you're not used to your emotions being full, then I think this is going to be a really good time for you. So, get ready, be well, because by the time we get to the 7th of November, it's going to be better because I do think that you're going to start being able to make moves around November 7th. So whatever that means for you. So good luck. All right. Virgo. Libra. Libra. What's up, Libra? What's happening for Libra people? Libra. What's up, Libra people? Libra, King of Wands. It's interesting because this is a male card. Obviously, some of you out there are female, but the King of Wands is somebody who's coming into their power. So normally this is a card that's ruled by Leo, right? So coming into your power able to negotiate, right? This is a card that has to do with like building money and finances as well. So you could very well be in some sort of a growth cycle. But this is a card about negotiation. It's about working with other people. So you're coming into your own power here and having the ability to reach out and work with other people that you are choosing to work with, right? This is not something that you're being pushed into working with other people. You're coming into a place where you're going to be able to choose who it is that you're going to work with. Who's on your team, Libra? Who's on your team? Nice. Good for you, Libra. Emperor, this guy's ruled by a sign of Aries. Yeah, so you have two fire things going on over here, right? King of Wands ruled by Leo. This is ruled by Aries, right? So this is all about control. Emperor, sometimes it's ruled by the father, but it's about control, right? So you're sitting here and finally being in a place of control. What I am being told here is do not let this run into your head, right? Do not let your ego get the best of you, Libra, right? It's not a good look. So, King of Swords, a lot of male energy sitting here for you, Libra. King of Wands, Emperor card, King of Swords, right? So, King of Swords is somebody that can bring up things related to, it's not like the Justice card, but it can bring up people who are connected to law, right? It says to be very clear. You're coming into a place about clarity, right? So swords, so air, Libra, right? Coming into your own like power mentally as well as energetically. So, and looking straight ahead, the King of Swords is the only king in the deck that looks forward, right? So you're coming into a place face forward, you know, ready to take on whoever's coming at you, right? So he's got that ring on his hand over here, ring of power, right? 7 rings and 1 to rule them all. I don't know what that's all. I don't know where that's coming from. But anyway, you know, you could very well be starting your own company, your own corporation, things like that, right? But you are sitting here, owning your own ideas, things like that, and things becoming very clear to you. You're very clear about where you're going, what it is that you're doing, and like just it's kind of interesting because I am showing this thing here. You know, I never really pay attention to these things, right? But this thing here in back, right? This could be the guy's throne, right? It could also be a banner, right? But it tells me that you have, you know, that you're secure where it is that you're sitting, that your back is, you know, it's against the throne, it's against this wall here, right? So you have a sense of security about where it is that you're sitting, that, you know, people aren't coming up behind you, stabbing you in your back, things like that, right? So this feels really good for you, Libra, like really good, right? Like a sense of like security, like financial security, things like that, mental security, emotional security, all of that kind of stuff, right? So this is interesting, right? Devil card connected to King of Wands, right? So you're coming into this power, right? But the Devil card would say that, you know, you don't want to be like ruling over other people like that, right? Because the Devil card is about, it's connected to a power struggle, right? So it's about limitations and restrictions, right? But the Devil is a card that is about, usually it is a card about that you are feeling powerless, that you're like, a power struggle, right? But like under other people's power, right? So like limitations and restrictions of your own making, right? But you do not want to be in this place where you're coming into your own power and then kind of like reversing this, right? So that that you are lording your power over other people, right? Um, you don't really want to be doing that, right? So because part of the devil card can be related to it's kind of can be related to ego. It's ruled by the sign of Capricorn, so it is about like your standing in the community as well, right? um it can be about, it's a kind that can be related to addiction, like drugs, things like that. Kind of related to extravagance, right? So like, you can be in this place where things are starting to go like really well for you, right? But you want to make sure you're keeping an even head, right? Um, you don't want to be like acting out, right? Like, oh, people have like, I almost like swore. You don't want to be in this place where like, oh, people have done me dirty like all these years, whatever, whatever. I'm gonna take advantage of them now, right? It's like, you know, you're getting into a good place here, but like be an appreciation of that, right? Not in a place where you're trying to take advantage of other people, right? So you want to be like be in the light, right? This is negotiation, right? Negotiations like for your money, finances, things like that. Things are getting much better for you, like financially here, right? And your environment is changing, right? So this may be a change in environment about where it is that you live, right? It can be a change in environment where it is that you work, right? And if you whether you work from home, right, or you know, if you're changing where you work, right, then and if you're somebody that works, like I work, right, then like your work could be where it is that you live, right? So, but this tells me that there can be a negotiation in changing your environment, right? What does that look like for you, right? But you could be negotiating about like better money and finances coming in here. So that's good. This is about being stuck in your thoughts, stuck in your head, right? And trying to control things, right? Um, this is like somebody that, it's not a card about being kind of stuck, right? But this is kind of stuck in your head. I usually use this card about making decisions that overwhelm you, right? And so you're gonna have to be thinking. It's somebody that can feel like they have to be thinking really big thoughts about like, oh, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna be in control? It's like you know, especially if you're getting into this place where you are actually having a sense of power and don't really know what to do with that now. Right? So it's like, so it can be a really interesting kind of a time period here, right? So being clear about where you're at, what you're doing, but also nostalgia, right? Thinking about the past, right? Which is why we have this card here that is about um, being stuck in your thoughts, right? It's kind of interesting because these two together make me think more about like the Seven of Pentacles, because I mean the Seven of Swords rather, because the Seven of Swords is about, you know, so we go from the Seven of Swords to the Eight of Swords. So this to me is a card that talks about thinking that things are going to be the same way that they have always been, right? Stuck in the past, right? And now you're in this place where, okay, I'm not being stuck in the past, right? Although you're thinking about the past, but like now you have to think about where it is that you're going, right? So making decisions overwhelm you, right? You're no longer stuck in the past. Get yourself free, right? This woman can like easily untie herself, right? And getting out of her thoughts, right? So like this is a kind. It's called pleasure, right? So, so think happy thoughts, and allow yourself to be free from the past, right? Because that's what it is that's happening around here, Libra. It's like you're being brought into a place where you are free from the past, and it's like you're not going to have to revisit, right? You're not going to have to revisit. So stop trying to think that you have to revisit the past. It's like the past is done, right? It's just done. So there's that. What comes after Libra? Scorpio. Scorpio. What's happening? Scorpio. 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 What's happening with Scorpio? What's happening with Scorpio? Okay, Scorpio, we're moving into your sign. New beginnings, independence, very entrepreneurial based card, very creative, right? The Ace of Wands can be a new business, it can be a new kid running around here, it can be a new relationship. The Ace of Wands is like a match, you like the match, and then whatever you're going to do with it, right? So you can use it to, like, for the powers of good, or like burning your house down, right? So we don't want to be doing that, right? So whatever seeds you're planting, right, things are starting to come to fruition, right? Is like this is starting to come up out of the ground. It's new beginnings happening for you. So excellent, 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 right? So new beginnings, working with new people, right? The Three of Pentacles is about classes, training programs, things like that, right? It's a kind of about negotiation, right? So you could very well be doing something new, right? Stepping up your game a little bit, taking some sort of classes, self-improvement programs, things like that, right? It could, like, Spirit is telling me that this is something that could be involving, you being involved in a new community, right? Something where, because the Three of Pentacles is about, like, working with other people, right? This is a card that has to do with mind, body, and spirit, right? In this particular deck, right? In this deck, it's called Works, right? So, but I am in this thing that has to do with new kinds of community coming in around you, right? And, like, new ways, it can very well be like new ways of being able to make money, right? Three of Pentacles technically is about, like, growth as far as your money is concerned, right? So this is new ways of making your money, allowing, not even making, right? Because you don't want to effort, you want to allow, right? It's like, yes, progress, like plant seeds for the future, right? Whatever you're doing, right? But it doesn't have to be like an effort, right? So it's like, yes, there can be new communities coming up around here. I feel like it's going to be really good for you, right? Especially because these are people that have an ability to be like-minded, right? I mean, like, let's face it, not everybody is going to be, like, amazing, right? But it is a community, and so I think that most of the people are going to be like-minded and, focus on the positive and not the negative. Okay? Queen of Cups, right? Scorpio time period. Queen of Cups, very emotional time period, right? Queen of Cups, Knight of Cups, right? Again, being around other people, whatever you're looking for emotionally, right? Especially, like, I mean, this is something that can be like relationships. It can be related to, like, like your children, things like that. Whatever your children are about, right? Whether your children are like people, whether your children are your dogs, whether your children are like your pet projects, right? Whatever that is all about. It's like, this to me makes me feel like you're going through, like, all right, so fine, new beginnings, and big emotional time period connected to that, right? Negotiation with people, new communities, right? And new emotions that are connected to that, right? Um, so I think that this is going to be a lot about making decisions about who you are, how you're going to proceed in your own life emotionally, right? Because, Scorpio does go through death and rebirth, right? Like every year they go through this. My niece is a Scorpio, and I know other people that are Scorpio, and my I have like a strong Scorpio placement, even though I'm not a Scorpio, but I have a strong Scorpio placement. So I go through my own kind of like death and rebirth with all of that as well. So I think that that is what all of this is about, right? Yes, we do have like big astrological things happening right now, but this makes me feel like you're being propelled into like a new stratosphere. It's definitely like death and rebirth. I won't be surprised if one of these other cards show up here as like the death card. It has already shown up a couple of times, but this feels to me like you're going through some sort of ascension process, right? Whether you call it like rebirthing, whether you call it like raising your vibration, right? It's like you're having new people coming in because your whole vibration is changing. It's like you have asked for something new and something new is happening, right? So um yes. And again, the Ace of Wands, right? And things are going to come in quickly, right? You're trying to rush ahead here, right? And because you are completing a cycle, right? And recognition here. So normally, right, like, so Scorpio is very empathic, right? So normally if somebody's coming in, rushing in at them, right, it's like, stay away from me. Right? It's like your energy is too much, it's too chaotic. Hurry, rush, right? So, but this is going to be people of like-mindedness, right? This is a kind of about recognition, right? Somebody coming in quickly, or things coming in quickly, information coming in quickly, right? And recognition, right? So, the world card is like completion of a cycle. We are in your sign, right? So that is completion of a cycle, new year, stuff like that, right? Big emotions coming in around you. There could be a lot of new ideas coming in and around here, creative projects, things like that, business ideas, all kinds of stuff coming in here. Like, wow, my head is so filled with all kinds of stuff right now that is all like creative, positivity, newness, right? Like how can we, how, like the community thing, how can we do this, right? There can be volunteering things, because I'm looking at like, how can we help these people over here, those people over there, right? So you could very well be trying to help people on a global scale too, right? Things like that. So Page of Wands, this is a card about communication, right? And then we have like loss, right? Loss, disappointment, endings, things like that, right? So, but, with the World card connected to the Five of Cups, right? I think this is going to be more about like an ending of loss, right? So it doesn't mean that, there's never going to be loss again, right? But if you're used to being in this place about like loss, disappointment, depression, things like that, right? I think that there are going to be opportunities that are being presented to you that can help alleviate that for you. So, part of this also, well, I use the Five of Cups for people that passed away. So to me, this would indicate that there are people that you recognize that have passed away who are trying to help you to be able to move forward. They're sitting there and they're being like, hey, Scorpio, what are you looking for? What are you looking at, right? You're sitting here looking at this wand, right? And like, which is kind of about communication, right? But I use it as looking at options around things, right? So like, fine, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Yeah, it's like things haven't necessarily panned out in the past, but that doesn't mean they're never going to pan out, right? Like all of that stuff is done, right? It's like, so it's like a rebirthing, right? So what do you want to be? Who do you recognize around your life that has an ability to be able to help you? Who is it that you want to work with, right? And why aren't you talking to those people, right? Because these are going to be new people. These are going to be new relationships. These are going to be new people that you are negotiating with, people that you have an ability to work with, new communities that you're out there dealing with. So it's like, this does look like really good. It just is going to be, it's going to be different because, if you're being at a higher vibration and you're used to operating with people at a lower vibration, right, then you tend to be skeptical, right? But you're moving up the ladder here, and so it's going to be, it's a place of abundance. It's a place about like new opportunities, bigger opportunities, things like that. And so I would just tell you to like, if you're feeling like your vibration is higher, right, and you're feeling better about things, then go with it, right? Just go with it. I'm losing my voice right now. I'm going to have to do another video. That's all I can talk about right now. It's already 2 hours, and so that's what I can do for right now. So I will see what I can do tomorrow because it's already where I am 4 o'clock in the morning. So good luck. Right. Thank you. Ciao.